How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Sander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. And today, we're actually going to be talking about these platonic relationships, the better portions of platonic relationships, why they are good to have, even though I completely understand that we end up in platonic relationships inadvertently for reasons that we do not understand. So I know that on the show, a lot of times we talk about how platonic relationships are something that as men we should avoid when we are interested in a romantic relationship with a partner. But a platonic relationship actually does have its benefits. In the event that you meet an individual that has a similar taste and similar interests as you, regardless of their gender, you can actually establish a platonic relationship with that person and then be able to form bonds. And this is where we get our road dogs from. This is where our best friends from 10, 20 years ago comes from. This is where our uh, lifelong friendships come from. The ones that are there for you when times get tough, and the ones that aid you when you wasn't expecting it to go down that way. And one of the things that I want to talk about with those platonic relationships, because it has to be a platonic relationship. And one of the reasons why it has to be a platonic relationship is because when you start putting physical intimacy in a platonic relationship, it starts muddying the waters real bad. You start having a situation where the one person is going to fall for the other one. It's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. No matter how we set the guidelines of friends with benefits and stuff to that effect, you always end up in a situation where one person, for the lack of better terms, catches feelings with another person. And truth is, the it's less likely that women have understood the concept of the men who wear their heart on their sleeves kind of thing. A man typically commits to a specific woman, and then if they're supposed to be in a platonic relationship, that kind of messes things up for him, because he actually may have subconsciously committed to this woman. He may have dedicated himself to this woman, and now he's just her platonic knight in shining armor in the friend zone. We've talked about the friend zone a lot on this show. Make sure you go back and check some of our older shows on the podcast. But for the sake of a platonic friendship, when you women are going to benefit from this a lot, because you get the emotional attention that you look for, you get the companionship that you look for, and you do not have the obligation of intimacy and emotional connection. Well, physical connection. And a true platonic relationship could actually outlast some of the romantic relationships that do not have the right startup. And the thing is, when you think about this, think back, for those of us that are not Gen Zs, for those of us that were born before 2000. Think about the fact that 40, 50, 60 years ago, regardless of how old you are, we were in an era where we would be able to go and hang out with people. We would be able to talk to people and then get to know them with no strings attached and no pressure. That is what a platonic relationship will give you, is that somebody, you can get to know somebody on a deeper level with no pressure of physical contact. And you have to realize, on both sides of the fence, actually, there is going to be pressure for physical contact, whether it is pressure from your partner or pressure from your environment. Think about back when we were teenagers, back when we first started dating, those of us who started dating as teenagers. Think about the fact that when somebody realizes that you are hanging around somebody on a regular basis, first thing they ask is are you dating? Have you guys kissed? There's the pressure right there. If you guys are exclusive to one another or seen around each other on a regular basis, you are pressured by your society. Oh, you guys haven't done it yet. Oh, you should have done it by now. That's not the kind of scenarios that you get when you have a specifically platonic friend. Now, these friends can be there for you through thick and thin for the remainder of your life if you covet that relationship appropriately. Now, one of the ways that you benefit from a platonic relationship is that they're like extended family. These are the people that know the deepest, darkest secrets about you. They know where the body's kept. They know, you know, where the safe is. They know everything about you. They're one step away from being your power of attorney. Something happens to you, they know what's supposed to happen. If something happens to you, they know something happens to you. These are the ones that you can fall back on. And typically, this is where the beginning of your inner circle comes from. Now, if you have a really good platonic relationship with a lot of people, you are able to have a more fulfilling and more emotionally stable environment. Because think about this, when you're in a platonic relationship, the muddy waters of possessive interaction with each other is minimized. Then you have the reduction of jealousy and envy and resentment. And because of that, you are reducing your ability to really mess the situation up. You have somebody who's not going to judge you negatively, and you actually have somebody that's not actually going to lust over you for a while. I can tell you firsthand experience. I've actually had quite a few platonic relationships, and that as a man, that I've actually had some platonic relationships with women. Actually, I got one with my hairdresser. And actually, the hairdresser is my type. She's very attractive, so it is possible to have a relationship, a platonic relationship with somebody, and you would be able to say, "Oh, well, you know, does he or she does X, Y, and Z for you?" Well, I can tell you, I had one that back when I was younger. I had one that would drive my car, that would fix my car. And I'm not talking about pay to get it fixed. I'm talking about I had a female friend that would sit in the yard and change out my CV axle. So for you guys who know like real female mechanics, like bro, it was hot. She was rebuilding my car from the ground up kind of stuff. And you don't get this very often. She was the one that prioritized my needs. She knew when I was sick. She knew when you know I was tired, I was burned out. You know, she would come cross town to come and make sure that I was okay. I would go cross town to make sure that she was okay. And because it was her and her sister. But you know, there were times where I would actually leave from work and go straight to her house and stay there instead of going to my house, even though my house was closer to my job than her house. And there were times that she was at my house before I even got off from work. And the type of platonic relationship that we had was a strong bond, almost like family. But we actually had a better platonic relationship than what we could have had as a romantic couple, which is unexpected. But because the sexual attraction in that relationship was not explored, it was maintained as a positive connection because we did not meet with the intent to hook up. We did not meet with the intent to have a relationship. There was no intent from me to have a longer standing relationship with this person. The person that I turned into a friend, I actually got this person as a friend because we met in the same place. We had we were both bored at that place. They needed a ride. I offered them a ride home, and then I come to find out that we had similar interests. So we just started hanging out and going places and doing stuff together. When friendships are formulated in that fashion, I encourage platonic relationships on a podcast. I've only said that the friend zone is not a good place for an individual who took a girl out on a date with the interest to make a romantic partner out of this person, and that person decides that, you know, they're only interested in keeping you as a consolation prize in the friend zone. That's unacceptable because a rejection is a rejection, and that rejection is a rejection. It's not a consolation. If you lost, you lost. You didn't just win. If there's only one winner, you're not it. Then it's time for you to pack your bags up and go. You're not supposed to hang around and linger. But for the sake of saying that you have a platonic friend, that you never had interest in a romance with, that is when you are able to formulate those really strong bonds. Now, the thing is that you have to protect that type of relationship in a specific fashion. For example, I mean, things happen. You end up coming across each other in compromising positions, in compromising locations, in compromising scenarios. But you are never supposed to cross the line of speaking romantically to your platonic partner. One of the reasons why is because if you start speaking romantically to your platonic partner, you start sparking the manifestation of romance in your platonic friendship. I used to treat her like one of the bros, but this was a female partner, a female friend. Now, this is almost like what you see with the guys and the studs, where they have a female friend. They treat her like one of the dudes, where she is reflected as a dude. And if the girl starts talking and behaving like a feminine female, the men start shutting that down, like, nope, you can't behave like that, because, you know, like that type of behavior is off limits. It's almost like being prey and pretending like a predator in front of the other predators. It just doesn't work out that way. It's a bad example to use, but you know, you don't go into a lion's den pretending like you're a lion and then decide to be a fawn for a moment. Like it just doesn't work out that way. It changes the dynamic of everybody in the group. So when we're dealing with these platonic relationships, actually you have some benefits of being in a platonic relationship. One of those benefits of being in a platonic relationship is that, especially if you have a platonic relationship of the opposite sex, you have a partner that can actually wingman you or wingwoman you into a situation that you otherwise would not have been able to get yourself into. You also have a partner that can navigate you through the pitfalls of negative relationships, negative interactions. So, for example, you got a female best friend. This female best friend is talking to you. You're explaining to her a situation that went wrong with your girlfriend. Your female best friend is giving you good advice on how to fix that situation. Men do not understand women. And on this podcast, I do not encourage men to try to figure out how to understand women's train of thoughts when women are not being logical and rational. I say that you have to try to understand your partner. As a man, to understand a female, you are supposed to be able to try to get to the bottom of her wants, needs, and desires, and be able to recognize the realistic expectations that she has. Now, you're outside of that, because those are all logistical. Those are things, if she expects you to come straight home from work, that's a logistical thing. That's like, okay, technically, if I'm not working overtime, I should come home first, check in with my girl. Then if I'm going to go hang out with the bros, go hang out with the bros, not just leave from work and go hang out with the bros and stack it back into the house at God knows what time when I got off from work early. You know, that makes sense. But, you know, her being upset for some reason and not talking about it. And then, you know, when I'm trying to figure out what's wrong, she's not telling me, but she's giving me a silent treatment. You know, she when I come into the room, she go into another room, you know, stuff like that. Nah, I'm not even trying to analyze that situation. I'm not trying to figure out how do I get through that particular type of engagement, because that type of narcissistic behavior, that type of toxic behavior is not healthy for you to entertain. If I walk up to you and I ask you, are you okay? You say no, yes. And I see that you've been crying or something like that. You sniffling, your nose is running stuff, and I ask you what's wrong, and you say nothing, then nothing's wrong. That's how that works. And then I'm going to move on. You don't care about me. Well, I asked you what's wrong and you didn't answer me. So, I mean, that's it right there. You know, I'm not going to come down on you like a police officer where you say everything's fine and I'm still pressing the issue, trying to find a problem. I'm not trying to find a problem. I'm not going to poke and prod. If you tell me that there's nothing there, there's nothing there. So, you know, those scenarios are the scenarios that I avoid. But with platonic relationships, say for example, the guy forgot an anniversary, or say the guy forgot a special event or something that was important to the girlfriend or the wife. The girlfriend or the wife is mad at him. He doesn't know how to make it up to her. He goes and talks to his female friend. She's able to give him advice, because a lot of women, when it comes down to, not every woman thinks the same, but a lot of women, when it comes down to how they would like to be treated when you're making up to them for making a mistake, they kind of have a similar outcome and expectation. So with that being said, you can then go over and ask, hey, um, what would you do, if it, or what would you expect your boyfriend to do, or whatever, if such and such happens. And this actually helps the person be able to understand and think, oh, hey, well, we've got this, we've got that, we've got this. And then you can pick from some of the things that she tells you to go and put the stuff into action. Likewise, with the reverse, females that have male friends, that actually does work when you go and talk to a boyfriend. But you got to make sure that the guy is not interested in you. So fellas, if a girl that you've got in a friend zone asks you, if you're into her, you got to be honest with her, bro. If you're into her, you're into her. You got to say that. How you doing, Red Void? It's good to see you again. But if you're talking to a female and you're not interested in her, she comes over, she's got a boyfriend, she wants to tell you like something happened, this, that, and the third. She doesn't know what's going on. You could try to help her understand the mentality of a man and understand. I mean, even down to the cheating part. Like, you can help her rationalize it. I know most guys typically don't tell a woman that she was in the wrong in any way, shape, or form, but I can be honest with you, more often than not, both parties did something that they wasn't supposed to do, and that's the reason why the relationship is where it is right now. And if you've got a rational and logical friend that's able to sit there and listen to what you got going on, they can give you some advice on how to navigate out of it instead of just emotionally shut down and then negatively attacking your partner. So having a person that you can confide in is really good when you have a platonic relationship, aside from your romantic relationship. But one of the issues is that you're not supposed to develop a new platonic relationship that is stronger than your already existing romantic relationship. But that does not mean that if you have a legitimate platonic relationship, that you should abandon that platonic relationship specifically because you have a romantic relationship. Because your friends, your family, your pets will be there unless they die. They will be there long after your relationship ends, especially when your relationships these days are lasting between 6 months and 2 years and 6 months, 2 years and 9 months at the most. So when you're dealing with a platonic relationship, it is more effective to be able to maintain a certain quantity of distance from romantic behavior and still be able to engage and have a good time and manifest a strong relationship. They have like bromances where the guys hang out and they do more stuff and know more about one another than they know about their girlfriends and their wives, because a lot of this platonic friend, you're able to open up to them without judgment. You're able to confide in them without having it thrown up in your face later on. You're able to hang out with them and get advice from them about things that you're going through right now. And these are things that you're not able to always get from your romantic partner, from both sides of the fence. Because when a man tells a woman something, more often than not, she might keep it a secret until she's pissed off at you. Then it's no longer a secret. Whether she throws it in your face in a one-on-one argument, or she throws it in your face in public, or she uses it in the middle of a group setting to embarrass you in front of your friends and family, that it's not a 100% secret. Likewise, you're going to have situations where a man is going to provide you with the type of instructive advice, which is different from, well, I feel like this and I feel like that. A man is going to be like, all right, do this. And women are not always comfortable with being told what to do and how to behave and how to function. Now, granted, it is okay for to kind of get that advice from a friend, because this is how you accomplish your goal. But women are not confident and capable enough to interact with their boyfriends and their husbands in a fashion where they are being told how to behave and how to dress and how to carry themselves. And since they feel like that is a form of oppression, that or some type of taboo stigma, to the point where a man, her boyfriend or her husband, cannot tell her the correct way to behave to eliminate the conflict in a relationship, or the correct way to behave to not tick off her partner. The fact is, she would have to get that from her male friends, because her male friends would tell her probably the exact same thing her boyfriend would tell her. It's like, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do that, and then you won't have a problem. Because unlike women, men have a owner's manual that is like a Siri. If you walk up to it and say, how do I make this work? A man's going to tell you, do this, do this, do this. These things happen on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. These things happen on Saturdays and Sundays. That's how it's going to be. But with a woman, it's like you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. It's a mystery. It's a really big mystery. But the difference is that while I know that there is a little bit of excitement and mystery, if you don't know how to navigate this Da Vinci Code, you're going to need some help. You're going to need some advice. You're going to need a partner. And that's where the platonic friendships come from. So the platonic friendships are going to be like, oh, man, I took this girl out on a date. I really like her. And I brought her to such and such place. And I don't think she was into it. What do I do? That is the best time to get you a platonic friend. But when you've got a situation where, oh, man, something bad happened at my job and so insulted me, while you're supposed to be able to go to your boyfriend, you're not going to feel comfortable with going to your boyfriend, because if you go to your boyfriend and be like, oh, so-and-so said such and such to me on the job, oh, I'm going to beat his ass. And that's not the mentality that you're supposed to have. That's not the behavior that you're supposed to have. You're supposed to be able to say, okay, well, I understand that, you're having a bad time at work. This is how you communicate with your coworkers. You need to have a little bit more assertiveness. And because getting that third party advice from somebody that is not dedicated to your safety as well as your happiness, that person is not going to physically take action on your behalf, because that's what a boyfriend would do, is take action on your behalf. A male friend would just tell you how you could take action for yourself. So a platonic relationship can actually benefit you more in certain situations than a bringing that same information into your romantic relationship. Now, I've come to see in a lot of situations where we have had quite a few people come up onto the show. They tell us their point of view. Like, we've got some topics that's going to be coming up tomorrow on the members only show, and we're going to be dealing with some of their concerns, some of their issues. And while we're looking at those concerns and those issues, we're looking at how they will only come from what makes them happy, what they're disappointed about. Now, a friend would help that person understand, hey, while I know what you're thinking and I know where you're coming from with this, I still believe that you should be able to look at X, Y, and Z, A, B, and C, and try to get this from a different perspective. See what I'm saying? Offering to look at it from somebody else's point of view. That's something that you're not going to get from the boyfriend or the girlfriend, because they're going to be focused on their position. They're going to be focusing on getting you to accept their position, or at least getting you to understand their position. And they're not going to come off of their position, which likewise, you're going to be getting that from both sides of the fence. And if you don't have an understanding and rational individual that between the two of you, because you can have a logical person between the two people, and if both parties are acting irrational at the time, you're still not working anything out. In a platonic relationship where you have somebody who's not emotionally attached to the problem, you can talk the problem over with the person that is not attached to the problem, and that person can understand your point of view and potentially analyze the other person's point of view, and then be able to tell you, well, if you think about it like this, if you try X, Y, and Z, you'll get these types of outcomes. And if this particular outcome is more favorable to your expectations, then you're able to meet your goals by doing this, and that person. And then that person should, if the feelings are mutual, that person should do something to reciprocate that behavior pattern, which will lead you guys to capitalize on one another's positive actions instead of capitalizing on one another's negative actions. And why I think that the platonic relationships are just that much more valuable because of that dynamic. I encourage that we try our best to make sure that we find a balance between our romantic relationships and our platonic friendships. But I also say, hey, if you've got a romantic partner that you've known since grade school, you guys know everything about each other, and you guys treat each other the way you would be treating your romantic partner if your romantic partner was behaving the way you wanted. Back in our days, we used to know somebody for 6 months to a year, 2 years, 3 years before we start dating. Before we started dating. So, like, instead of the friend zone being the rejection zone, the friend zone used to be phase one. And then the relationship used to be phase two, where you guys went from hanging out in groups to hanging out individually. And then the relationship would be a platonic, romantic relationship for a period of time, 6 months, a year, 2 years. And then the intimacy would occur where you would have had 3 to 5 years of platonic engagement with your romantic partner before physical engagement started to occur. You knew your partner inside and out. Take that 70s show, for example. Notice how Foreman had Donna for 5 or 6 seasons before they actually became a couple. You see what I'm saying? The Kelso was the one that was in and out of bad relationships on a regular basis. But Foreman was with this person for a long time as a friend, and then a relationship became from the friendship. Now, a lot of women misperceive that. We could just be friends and we can get to know each other and see where it goes. But let's be real, ladies. If you are not doing that 100% of the time, it's not going to work that way. If you don't have levels to this shit where you're saying, look, if you value me as a person, we're going to start off as friends, and it must be starting off as friends, and we're going to get to know each other. If we still like each other after a few months, we can then see if we can carry this to the next level where we could potentially become exclusive. Or some of those people that it's like, look, I don't think this is going to work, but you're killing it at the friendship phase. You're not saying, well, you're not a romantic partner type. You see what I'm saying? And then continue dragging you on as a friend. If you've got romantic feelings for me and I do not have romantic feelings for you, this has to stop. This whole engagement has to stop. But if we have, how you doing, Slim Burton? If we have two platonic people engaged with one another, then yeah, we should be able to hang out with one another. We should be able to build something over time. But this has to be something that's going to be like linear with everyone. Because if you have, say, 2 or 3 people that you meet, okay, we're just going to be friends, allegedly. Then you have the one romantic partner. Now you have the person that you're trying to date, or at least the person that you're having a relation with. And then you have 2 or 3 other people that want to be in a relationship with you, but they're in the friend zone. That's what I say is unacceptable. Because you can't have potential suitors in the friend zone where they've been rejected by your advances today, but you're going to hover around them to see if whatever it is you did not like about them that disqualified them from being a perfect match or a reasonable partner, that you're going to see if that changes so that you can then get into that relationship with them. Then if you meet somebody who has that potential to be a good partner for you, then you're supposed to make that person that partner. You're supposed to mold them into what you want. One of the things that we have is that men are willing and able to mold women into the kind of woman that he wants her to be. She's not willing to change to be that. She wants to be accepted as is. But women want men to come exactly the way she wants it, with a custom order, with telling the man what the custom order is. And while the man is trying to figure out how to customize himself to meet this order, she's unsatisfied with the time limit that it takes for him to meet that order. And then things just fall apart. Once you hit that friend zone, when you have romantic interest in the other person, there's no bouncing back from that because she's already moved on. she's no longer interested in you as an option. And since she's no longer interested in you as an option, but you're still interested in her as an option, that's where the catastrophic failure comes from. Because even if you suppress your feelings for her, it's always going to hurt you emotionally when she gets involved with another person. It's also going to hurt you emotionally when she tells you about the physical engagements that she has with the other person. Then it's going to also hurt you emotionally when she tells you about the fights and arguments and everything that they have in their relationship. And then while she's complaining to you about how she can't find a man that'll treat her the way she wants to be treated, she's ignoring the fact that you're treating her the way she wants to be treated. She wants to have a man like you, but not you. That's why I say, no, we're not doing those romantic relationships. So when you're dealing with a platonic relationship, your platonic relationship must be the type of person that will show up and be your road dog. You have no interest in them, and they cannot have interest in you. Now, if you're single and they're single and they have an interest in you, you should be able to explore that option, because as I've told you guys before, the age-old phrase, love who loves you. If you are currently single and you've got somebody hovering around you that matches with you the way you need a match, even if that person is not your type, that person might actually be the one that you should be with. So before you start looking down the path to see like who's next, you need to look behind you for the people that's got your back and see which one of them would actually qualify as the partner that you're looking for before you start trying to explore something else. Because one of the things I've also come to understand with these platonic relationships, as good as they are, over time you come to find out that you've been married for 20 years and now your platonic friend comes and tells you how they've been in love with you since college. And the effort that goes into you got to gauge the effort. You got to remember this, gauge the effort, because people you don't give two shits about, you're not putting that much effort into. People that you give everything to, those are the people that matter to you the most. So when you're in a scenario where the people that matter to you the most are hurt, hungry, sad, you are trying to make sacrifices to make those people happy. You are trying to make sacrifices to feed those people, to clothe those people, to keep those people safe. And after a while of doing that, loyalty aside, after a while of doing that, feelings do develop. So you always have to check and double check and redirect yourself to go and find out. And yes, you will be in a romantic relationship. This new person that's in your relationship will come and point out that your relationship with your romantic partner is, well, your relationship with your romantic partner is not as strong as your relationship with your platonic partner. And you have to reassess that situation. This is going to be because at some point, like we had, I think last week and the week before, some people will make you choose. You're being too friendly with that person. It's either me or that person. Now, I told you from the gate that it is not a good idea to sacrifice something that you've had from the past for something that you just got. But if you are not interested in turning your platonic friend into a romantic partner, and you are trying to make this relationship work, you might have to consider telling your romantic partner that, or telling your platonic partner that you need a little extra space to build more security in your romantic relationship. Now, if you have a romantic partner and a female friend, and you're a dude and your female friend becomes good friends with your romantic partner, the mutual friends I never encourage, but your female friend might become better friends with your girlfriend or your wife, and now you've got two against one where nobody's in your favor. So I do not agree with mutual friends for more than one reason. The reason why I don't agree with mutual friends on the first part is because if you and your partner have a fallout, you're both going to go to that friend and complain about the other person, which I don't recommend. I recommend that you guys talk this shit out, but you're both going to go to that other person and talk this shit out. That person is now going to develop negative feelings about both of you. Believe it or not, if you've got mutual friends, the one who was friends the longest might side with loyalty. However, if the one that had the longer lasting relationship did not have as a strong of a platonic bond as the shorter relationship, they may switch sides. We also have the phrase killing the messenger, where if your friend is a bearer of bad news, you might lash out at your friend because your friend is telling you something that you didn't want to hear. And that lashing out of your friend could damage your relationship, and then your friend would have no problem with siding with your partner. The other problem with having platonic friends, I mean, not platonic friends, mutual friends, is when you guys are dating, you guys can hang out with your mutual friends. But when you guys break up, separate, get divorced, you're not going to be able to hang out with your friend because your ex is hanging out with your friend. It's an awkward situation, no matter how you pretend like it's not. Now, the other thing that we have to deal with is with those awkward friendships, we have one, especially when we have those bad breakups where one partner doesn't want the friend to go and hang out with the other partner, and now the friend feels uncomfortable because now the friend has to choose which friend they're going to be friends with. You don't want to do that. That's a lot of negative feelings all the way around. The other problem that we have with mutual friends is, say you and your boy, you and your bro, y'all got the same taste in girls or similar taste in girls. You get this chick. He's attracted to her, but bro code, he's not going to do anything, right? Now, she becomes really close to him the same way she was really close to you. Eventually, the feelings between the two of them can manifest to where your homeboy is sleeping with your girl. The same way Steve Harvey hired his best friend as a bodyguard, and his best friend was protecting his wife instead of protecting him. And then his best friend ended up sleeping with his wife, having affairs with his wife. The same way R. Kelly and Mr. Biggs, where every time R. Kelly gets hired to guard Mr. Biggs' wife, Mr. Biggs loses his girl to R. Kelly. Me, with uniformity, I would not get a male bodyguard. I would hire a female bodyguard for my female wife. You know, I would get her. I make sure I find one with a G license and everything, where she can protect and serve, and we can make it do what it do. But I would not line up with any kind of relationship where she's being protected by another dude. I wouldn't do it. Now, I know a lot of women are going to say, oh, well, that's because you're insecure. You should have the confidence that, no, look, men do not have to be insecure because they know that two people can do things that nobody wants them to do. Good to see you again, Avery. The fact is that even if you have a platonic friendship with somebody else, there is an insecurity there from your partner, for your partner to believe that if you guys are that close together, that could turn into something romantic, because it happens all the time. So when you have a platonic friendship, the saying that, oh, well, you got to be secure with yourself that nothing negative will happen, that's just denial. It's idiocracy. You shouldn't be able to. Oh, you're saying that you can't hear us. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. You're saying that you can't hear me. I was not expecting that. We got the webcam mic that's up there. Let me double check the audio real quick. We have, oh, we got the webcam mic up there. We've got the so Avery just told me that you couldn't hear me, but for some reason we were running it. I got sound on the other side. Advanced audio settings, background music. Headset. Yep. Give me just a moment to double check where the, oh, it's supposed to be coming from the the webcam. Let me add the internal microphone. Default device, the real talker, small sound technology, microphone, webcam. All right, let's see. Viewers can only hear your audio one. Turn on the down mix to mono to allow your audio to be played on both sides. All right. How about now? So, my apologies. I was wondering what was going on. Apparently, got to retune the webcam so that everything can work the way it was supposed to work. But I appreciate you, Avery, letting me know that the webcam wasn't on the TikTok side. I sat here and thought that I had audio on both sides. I'm going to have to remember that down the line to make sure that all of the audio files are functioning from every other area. Let me select stereo mode over here. And that should give me the ability to have extra. Yep. We got it. So I tell you guys, I'm always in the prototype phase. I'm always in the prototype phase. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. I actually had somebody that was on the podcast for a hot minute, and I thought that everything was coming good from the one side. Because I know that if you can hear me from YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, I know that because it's picture in picture, that it's supposed to be doing a sound segue over to TikTok. But every now and again, I gotta double check and make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to work. So yeah, good to know that if I'm paying attention to my mic volume, I will be able to see the sound coming in. So I'm going to test that for tomorrow's show to make sure that we don't have that problem again. Look at me embarrassed of what I just did. Human error. Do we have laughter? All right. So I lost my mojo there, guys. I lost my mojo there, Red. So Red. So I had the book was supposed to come in. They had something happen over there by the Amazon thing, and they had canceled my situation, and then I had to reorder the book. So the book was supposed to be here yesterday or today, and now it's supposed to be here either today or Monday, even though Monday's a holiday. So it might be here either Monday or Tuesday. We have on Wednesday. I'm trying to talk to this guy right now to see if this guy is going to show up onto the show on Wednesday, and we can talk about taxes. I have not put the show up on Wednesday yet this week because I haven't confirmed with him that we're going to talk about taxes, because I don't want to do a show about taxes, and I know enough about taxes to get my taxes done, but I don't know enough about taxes to give people a lot of advice about taxes. I just know that there are certain things that I benefit from the tax deductions that I claim and the way that I utilize my own taxes. So I encourage people to grab CPAs, especially since we're trying to get into all this big business. So I want to make sure that I'm encouraging more people to grab CPAs and tax lawyers and tax agents to help them with other areas. And by making those encouragements, since I came across a CPA, I was like, hey, you know, you want to come onto the show and talk. So we're supposed to have a CPA come up on the show on Thursday. And this person is going to be able to help you with preparing your taxes, or make sure that your financial actions and transactions will not cause you to have violations with taxes down the line, so that you don't have to worry about getting audited, so that you won't have to worry about any negative drawbacks from the IRS. So I am encouraging you guys to come to the Wednesday show, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I let you know that that's happening. I still got the cards over here from the dating card game, the assassin thingamabob. I think I've got a link to that card game that you can look into, because I believe that since you and your girl don't get a chance to hang out very often, that it's a good idea for y'all to for you guys to play this game together one time. That way you would be able to get to know your girlfriend better, since I know you guys have been around each other for a while. But if you take the link on this particular thing, go take a look at this deck of cards. I did a review on it on the podcast, but this is the direct link where to buy those cards. And these cards right here, like I told you before, they're 150. No, there's 150 cards for $30 for the box, and it is, I believe that they ship it everywhere. So I mean, you should be able to grab it. I know you're in Romania, but you should be able to grab it. And then when you and your girl meet, because I know you got Halloween coming up, I know that you got Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas coming up. So I know that you're going to see her at least one time outside of school. So while you're working and she's in college, I know that when she gets out of school, that you guys can hang out with one another, and y'all could like play games over dinner. Y'all can have like snacks, chips and dip, and play this and get to know each other better. And with 150 questions between two people, even if each one of you guys asked each other 30 questions apiece or 20 questions apiece, you'd be playing this game for a couple of hours, and then you guys are going to be like, all right, let's find something else to do. But these questions are some hard-hitting questions where you guys will be able to formulate a stronger bond. So I really encourage that for the two of you. So I just wanted to say that one more time, because I just put the show. It's going to air tonight at midnight, which is in 3 hours. So for you, it's going to be like almost first thing in the morning kind of thing. So it's going to air in 3 hours on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to see the preview, and then you'll be able to see the it shows you me shuffling the cards. I show you some of the cards that is in there, the price tag, where to go. They have an FAQ page up there that kind of helps you with the rules and guidelines of the game, so you kind of understand how to play the game. Because the one thing she didn't do was put how to play the game in the box of cards. So it's just a box of cards. But if you kind of know what you're supposed to do with the cards when you get the cards, you kind of just say, hey, you can kind of use this game to make up your own rules. I would turn it into a drinking game, because she gives people the option to choose not to ask questions if they don't feel comfortable with asking questions, or choose not to answer questions if they don't feel comfortable with answering questions. But coming from the perspective of people who decide to sit there but not really want to play, like talking about it because they have the option to play the game without actually playing the game, then you're asking yourself questions and answering them, and the other person is watching. I'm not down for that. So I said, well, let's turn it into a drinking game. Let's take this deck of cards, grab you a few bottles, grab you a couple cups, and I'm going to ask you a question. And if you don't answer it or explain why you're not answering it, and because I don't want to, it's not a good answer, you got to take a shot. If your excuse for why you didn't answer the question is reasonable, I'll buy it. If not, you take a shot. If you don't feel like asking a question, you take a shot. And one or two things is going to happen. You're either going to drink enough to not have the anxiety behind answering the questions. You're going to get drunk and pass out, which means you won, or you're going to answer questions because you want to stay sober, which means we both win, because you're going to get to know me. I'm going to get to know you. We're going to get hammered at the same time. And for college folks, this is a very good drinking game. So I really encourage you guys to get that in there. So I threw that link into the comment section for you guys. I want you guys to take a look at it. But yeah, we definitely have coming up on Thursday. We got that going. And we have a dating coach that is coming in to the podcast real soon. We have a dating coach coming in. So I'm talking to her right now. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to get her in. Because we talk about relationships on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm going to try to see when she's available between Thursday and Sunday. And we're going to do a 1-hour podcast with her. We're going to talk about her services. We're going to talk about like her knowledge and understanding about dating, and really get her to kind of talk. And I'll kind of ask some questions. You guys will have the ability to ask her some questions. So as soon as I figure out which day of the week she's going to be on, I'll be scheduling her as well hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So I'm still trying to, I'll have to push a Thursday show or a weekend show. I'll have to push a show later to put her in, but I definitely want to make sure that we have everything that we need to be able to run the Q&As for the service. I'm gonna put some links up for her service up there so that you guys can see what she's doing, so that you can understand what kind of service she offers. But she can kind of give you guys a little bit of dating advice, so you can kind of get a sample of what she's capable of doing and what kind of services she's able to meet. So for those of you who are not already in a relationship, she will be able to help you guys find a relationship. But for those of you that are in relationships, like Red, you're in a relationship, you're trying to maintain long distance relationships, I'm going to make sure that I get advice from her on the show where she can help people who are trying to work on maintaining a stable relationship or handling the requirements of a long distance relationship. Because we actually did yesterday a topic about long distance relationships, and I wanted to make sure that when she does come up, if she's got any new advice, because me and Wolf was talking about, me and L Beast was up here talking about how we could do different things to show our partner that we care, that doesn't require us spending boatloads of money to impress them with the stuff that we bought. There is ways that you can really impress. You can customize things and spend money on it to impress them. But if you make it yourself, it's cheaper, and the effort that you put into it actually makes things better for you than just thinking about what went down. So I strongly encourage that. But I need to buy me a second laptop. I'm gonna have to do like a side by side. I'm just sitting over here thinking this. Like I'm gonna have to grab me a second one and be like, bloop, put one over there, put one over here, and kind of have them angled towards one another. I'm gonna have to figure that part out. That's like $300 for this laptop. Was expensive, but just to get one just for the podcast, it'd be like $300 for a laptop. I'm gonna have to figure that part out. But regardless of the fact, especially since I got TikTok on one side and I got YouTube and everybody on the other side, I'm gonna have to figure out how to either do that or connect a monitor to this laptop. I need to see if this laptop has that option. I got a webcam, but I kind of want to stream it on two different devices because I want to make sure that I'm not bogging down the one laptop with the 8 gigs RAM speed that this laptop has. If I had faster laptops, then I could do all kinds of shit. But it is what it is. Also, after we get the book, because I got to check later today and see if they actually processed it. And if they process the book and they ship the book out, then I should be getting the book later this week. If I continue to have issues with the book, I'm going to have to figure out how to get my hands on the book since that book is part of a contract for me to promote. And then I'm going to let this guy know that, okay, I got it and we're going to do it. But I'm going to try to get that guy on the show also. And that guy's going to be talking to us about some real estate investments and stuff like that. So I have to schedule him in either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday to come in and talk on a podcast about what to do and how to function so that he can give us some advice on how to spend money and make money And he's going to primarily talk about ways for us to do stuff either online with investments or here in America with investments. But even if you're in another country, some of this information you can reincorporate into the format of your country. You just have to look at the laws and rules around your investment strategies. The strategy itself is still enforceable. You just have to modify it for the restrictions of the society that you're in. So that's one of the things that I would go ahead and say that we should try to factor in and formulate. So yeah, there's going to be a pretty decent. So this month and next month it's going to start getting a little bit better. I know that because we got a lot of stuff going on with them talking about the new president situation, that there are more people focusing on that than people focusing on this. But as that transitions out, there's and then there's a lot of people that are dealing with the storm, and those people who, because we had a hurricane, a category 5 hurricane that was equivalent to what the people in Hong Kong and China and Japan call tsunamis. So there's a lot of people that was negatively impacted by that, and that's gonna, no internet, no cell phones, no power really. So it's hard for them to get on to be able to watch the podcast because they don't have any power. They're going to preserve their cell phones and everything for the emergencies. So Florida being hit, we originate out of Florida, and one of the primary sources of viewership was from Florida, and Florida's been hit 2 weeks in a row, or every other week actually. So for the last 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks, they haven't been able to come to the podcast the way they used to come to the podcast. So that plays a huge part in how we do what we do. So as people start coming to the podcast, I get to turn about and make a few shorts out of a lot of the videos that we are making, and we will be able to show them later so that you guys can watch it, and I'll be able to highlight some of the good parts. I'll be able to highlight some other areas where we can make impact on each other's lives and be able to make things better, so that going forward, you know, we're happier. I can't say that I'm going to be a relationship guru by choice. I can say that since I talk about this, that, and everything in between, and I'm very opinionated, I am going to end up being a relationship guru in some magnitude. But I'm also going to be talking about just really making you a better man, a man that you're proud of yourself, you're proud of the situation that you're in, you're proud of the people that are around you, you have no disappointment anywhere. That's the goal that I'm trying to get for everybody that watches the podcast. So as we move forward, I want you guys to just keep a lookout, and make sure that you double check, swing by the YouTube page, double check and see what's going on over there by the YouTube page, and then try to make sure that you are able to catch up with, because at least I think because they've changed the podcast up a little bit. They changed the way the homepage looks, and I think they show the next couple of shows and the last few shows, but we actually have like a whole month rolled out. So I'm not sure if they're going to show all of them, but I know that they show most of them. So when we're talking about our relationship topics over the weekends, we're talking about our business finance topics and health and fitness topics and food topics Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We try to put up a little bit of difference throughout the week, but you guys can then come in and see what we got going on by going to our homepage and trying to follow through the channel. So just know we're going to be talking about purge content on Monday, because the man talked about purging, and I told y'all 2 months ago, I said, look, all we need is for somebody to have a campaign where they're going to put that into action, and it's going down. And as soon as I said that, he's up there talking about it. Not too long, like a year don't have to pass, and when I say something, it starts coming to pass like within 90 days. So when you say that you can speak stuff into existence, like I'm speaking volumes right now. But we had that discussion coming up, and then I was going to be grabbing a lot of research and start talking about the origin of some of the holidays, what they were originally about, versus what we do with them right now, so that we can understand how things have changed over the past 100 to 200 years with respects to those holidays, how and when they originated, and the fact that it's been monetized for big business and commerce, and the true meanings behind some of these holidays. And we're not doing all the holidays. We're just going to do the upcoming ones, because we got Halloween coming up, Thanksgiving after that, Christmas. And Halloween has its own unique circumstances. Thanksgiving, we understand, came from pilgrimage, but Christmas, the origin of Christmas, and then like the true aspects of it, we're going to be talking about that on Tuesday's show. And like I said, Wednesday, we're supposed to be trying to tap dance around the gentleman that's supposed to come in and talk about how to benefit with your taxes. And he's a CPA, so you'll be able to get some tax information from him. But he will be able to tell you about, I think from what I understand, he has a seminar that happens on Thursdays and Sundays, so he can help you with taxes in his seminars. And he's going to provide us with information where you guys will be able to get into his seminars to help you with your taxes. And then also, he should be able to aid you guys in, knowing what's coming, because with the tax laws changing for 2025, you have to understand that if you're not prepared, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You're going to pay more taxes than you get, to prevent from being audited and owing more taxes than you originally had to spend. And even if it is a new tax bracket where they're only taking 15%, the fact is that if they're taking 15% of your money, you're losing $1,500 out of every $10,000 that you make. That's a lot of money to give away. And for those people who are not making $200,000-$300,000 a year, and if you were making $300,000 a year, who would want to give away $15,000 worth of the money that they earned? But if you're not making $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, that $2, $3, $4, $5,000 that they're taking out of your check every year for you W-2 workers, and expect you to pay for you 1099 workers and self-employed people who don't always cross the spread because you don't have a CPA to help you get legitimate tax write-offs, you're putting yourself in a bad spot. So, save yourself a little bit of money, take the difference, give it to the CPA. And one of the best things about this is that a tax agent is tax deductible. So while, you might have to pay for a CPA to help you get your taxes straight, it's a tax write-off to have a CPA get your taxes straight. So you're not actually paying for it. The government's going to give you deduct money off of what you owe the government, because you're paying for stuff like this. If you change your mentality and start thinking about how taxes is the cost of doing business, and taxes is deducted by the debt that is the cost of doing business, and as long as you have more debt than you owe taxes, you don't have to pay taxes, but you're still going to have a loss somewhere. It's the cost of doing business. You just make sure that you make more profits than you make more debt. That's what you do. Make more profits than debt. But you want to make sure that 20 to 40% of your depending on whether or not you're an individual, sole proprietor, LLC, or C corporation, between 20 and 40%, you want to make sure is debt. And then at least 60% is profit. And if you're doing 60% profit, 80% profit, you're doing good. You're doing good all day long. So I always want to talk about that. And then also I want to change you guys when we start talking about our relationships. I want to change you guys' mentality, because just like I was talking to Shaniqua earlier, that it is more beneficial for you guys to focus on, instead of sex being a prize, instead of short-term satisfaction being a prize, long-term life partners be the goal. That way you will be able to find somebody that meshes with you the way you need them to mesh with you. You will be able to have a person that benefits your agenda. You will be able to benefit their agenda. And because you guys are working towards the same goals, or you're able to incorporate their goals into your goals where you're working towards the same goals, then you guys are able to satisfy each other. Because when you have a partner that prioritizes you as much as you prioritize them, then neither one of you is ever going undone. But when you're in a relationship where the person that you're prioritizing is not reciprocating that prioritization in you, the resources is going in the direction of the selfish person, and the person that is being generous is going undone. And that is a parasitic relationship, which means that at some point the person providing all of the resources will stop providing those resources because they can't or don't want to provide them anymore. And then the person that was receiving the resources is going to change out because he or she feels like they should continue to receive without having to do anything to deserve it. And then those are the types of relationships that fall apart because one party was in it for the stuff and the other party was in it for the lifelong companionship. I say that if you weed through them, instead of finding somebody that is your quote unquote type, that you should find somebody that is on your level. You find somebody that is working from the same benefit as you, your goals. But a person that is on your level, I've said this plenty of times before, is not somebody who can uplift you to another status, somebody who can do more for you than you can do for yourself. Somebody that's on your level can do what you do so that you don't have to do it. And in a way, for the women, a person that can do something for you that you can't, that you would do for yourself, they do it for you. Now you don't have to do it. That is a level of improvement because you no longer have that responsibility because somebody else is taking over your responsibilities. But a man that's on your level is a man that can maintain his responsibilities and take your responsibilities and make them his responsibilities. That is a man on your level. If you have a lifestyle that you wish that you could live, you do not live that lifestyle. You do not want to get with a man so that he can help you live that lifestyle because that is not a man that's on your level. That's a man that's above your level. So if you are dating somebody who is giving you a lifestyle that you could not provide for yourself, there is a whole nother level of responsibility that you have to respect and appreciate that man for providing you with that lifestyle that not a lot of women are willing to do. But if you did that, you would probably lock that man in a whole lot easier. One of the things that because the mentality of the women in America is slightly different from the mentality of the women in Asia, because the women in Asia might think that an American is rich or has a farmland or whatever the case may be. But the fact is that while they might think that he's rich, their mentality is I'm going to do whatever I can to make him happy so that he can take care of me for the rest of my life. The mentality of some of the women in America is that he better take care of me because I'm attractive. And that's the difference in dynamic of mentality. There is no thought process from the American woman that states that I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that he is happy. It is just, I'm here, I'm loyal, and he's got to accept me as I am. And that's not mutual because his requirements to meet your standards is to be able to meet whatever realistic or unrealistic expectations you have in a man, but his standards are not even acknowledged. So that's an issue that you have to deal with. And when you start getting past that, you will be able to slide into a more effective relationship, because those relationships that are fundamentally based off of reciprocation for your partner, you're going to see yourself in a more satisfactory relationship. So with that being said, I am going to wrap things up because I got to get this video put up on TikTok as well. Unfortunately, I can't make shorts on, I could make shorts on Twitter, but it requires me to sit there and edit the live. And I might be able to edit the live, make a highlight reel of the game when I was talking about the game, make a highlight reel of some of these key points, but then I got to sit here and do more video editing. I've got 300 or 400 videos that I have to post in different areas, and I got to set up the shows for the upcoming weeks. So I feel like I'm going to re-encourage everyone that if you want to take a look at some of our highlight reels, some of our key points and stuff from the live shows, that you slide on over to the YouTube channel and take a look at stuff that we've got. I have noticed that because we've got a lot of content that is adult level content, that the restricted mode on YouTube is limiting viewership. One of the things that I just found out as of recent. And if in the event that anyone who sees a podcast, likes a podcast, but does not see daily releases of the show, because the show does release a live podcast 7 days a week and releases at least one to four videos every day, that if you're not seeing daily releases, that some of the content might be limited by YouTube's restricted mode. And I recommend that you take the time to go into your device. If you don't already have a VPN active, go get one, or if you were to go to your settings and then turn off the restricted mode on your cell phones, then you could see all of the shows that we have available on the podcast. And those of you that have networks like phone networks, internet networks that by default restricts adult content, you can try to go through your network and try to turn that off. Or like I said, just grab you a VPN. You could grab you a free one where you can just watch the show, where you can see the content from the show that was once restricted, or you could pay for one if you want to. But I would watch it for free because I mean you're getting a lot of advice from me that can help you make money for you. And then after you get that advice from me, you can make enough money to buy you a secure VPN so that you can watch the podcast. Now, I understand that there's some countries like China that prohibits the use of VPNs. So, you got to be careful which country you're in and what rules and laws that lie within the use of VPNs. But for the sake of entertainment, if you are just going to observe whatever laws that says that, you can use it to go and watch something, but you can't use it to do business with, then by all means, just stay inside of the confines of your laws. But make sure that you tap dance on over and come in and look at the show, because we are live 7 days a week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. And we've got something different pretty much every day of the week. Tomorrow, Sunday, we're doing a members only Q&As where we're going to be listening to comments from the fans. We're going to have at least 10 comments from the fans. I'm going to respond to those comments and questions. If you guys got comments and questions, you guys can come onto the show and talk to me about those comments and questions. We have opportunities to bring you onto the show live where you can say what you want to say instead of typing into the comment section. And we're also available on at least YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. We do have a Twitter page that we do access, but we are working on trying to migrate all of the shows into one another, and it's a little bit difficult to get everybody together as it stands right now. So we kind of got 3 out of the 4 platforms that 3 out of the 6 platforms that we want to run it on, but we've got at least 3 of them up here right now, but we do have about 4 or 5 of them to the minimalistic degree that do run. So I encourage you guys to take a look at every show that we have to offer for the week, as many of them as YouTube will allow you to see, because like I say, they redesigned YouTube and they made it harder for you to find old stuff unless you're looking for it specifically by title and restricted mode is not on, or you come directly to the live and get the information from me. I know that some of the videos that are still available, you can get it off of our podcast, because we have a podcast playlist that should show you at least the last 6 months worth of videos that we put up. And with daily videos, that's over 100. There's like 769 videos in the podcast playlist. So, whatever you guys want to look at. And then we have them sectioned off, because we have some for health and fitness, we have some for business and finance, some specifically for real estate. So whatever it is that you come to the podcast for, we're always good with trying to make sure that we provide the most information possible. So I also encourage you guys to try to join our membership, because when we start posting more information in our community tabs about the content and information that we start talking about on the show, you will be able to see the information continuing to exist in the community tabs. I'm working on navigating ways to put up links to the sources and other such stuff into the community tab, so that you can scroll through the community tab and get all of the backstory information to help you become a better you. So where to get our investment book from, where to get this deck of cards from, where to get the information on C corporations, starting up your own business, the difference between LLCs and S corporations and C corporations. We're talking about taxes on next week, I do believe, and then any other information that we come across, because we've talked about trusts recently. We've talked about stocks, bonds, and other investment strategies. We've talked about just in the last month, we've talked about some side hustles that you could turn into a startup business that require the least quantity of startup costs and resources, where you could take your natural talent, turn it into a business based off of what you like to do. And I think I gave you like 10 or 20 different things. I actually took 5 or 6 of them and incorporated different things into one thing that made it into something bigger. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, we should all be trying to find ways to build ourselves a better business and make ourselves better individuals where we can kind of stack on top of what we know. Because I know that most of us in this country who didn't get born with inheritance and extra second and third generation wealth wasn't taught how to save money, how to invest money, and how to build stability for ourselves. But I know all of us have that dream that we want to leave our kids something. If we have kids, we want to be financially successful so that we don't have to struggle. We want to be happy in relationships so that we don't have to suffer emotionally. We want to have no chaos in our lives. We want to be able to travel the world. We want to learn new things. And that's all the stuff that we talk about on this podcast. So this isn't the type of podcast that's just going to red pill and try to make it seem like that the problem is only women. The problem is not just women. The problem is that men and women do not have the correct priorities when they're engaging with one another. That's the problem. And to point out those misconceptions that both sides of the table has, and then working your way around, navigating around that so that you can find the right person for you. That's what we talk about on this podcast. Then business and finance, how to build yourself up successfully so that you can put yourself in a position where you can be financially stable, so that when you have those later years, if you set you a 20-year plan now, you have those later years, your boyfriend or your girlfriend can now travel the world with you. Your husband or your wife can now travel the world with you because you have free time for them. So if you now set up a 20-year plan where in 20 years, if you're in your 30s or 40s right now, by the time you're in your 50s and 60s, you should be able to quit working and you should be able to spend the next 20, 30, 40 years enjoying life with your life partner. And if your life partner aided you in getting there, then the two of you will be celebrating your success together, where you would, the hardest part of your day is meeting people, going to parties, socializing, networking, and finding other ways to make more money. Where you're not actually struggling, you're not actually having to be somewhere every day, you're not actually having to clock in to somebody else's time clock and doing what somebody else tells you to do. You would literally be the captain of your own ship, the leader of your own tribe, where you would be able to hire people to follow your instructions and do the things that you need them to do, or have them do the things that you don't want to do. That way you can spend more time doing the things that you like to do. All of these things are things that we try to encourage everybody to get on this podcast, and we try to leave a lot of things in the membership. That's why I ask you guys to make sure that you like and subscribe. And if you have the ability to join the membership is as low as I think $3 a month, where a lot of the information that I give you guys on a regular basis is accessible, and it's a heck of a lot cheaper than $200, $300, $400 per consultation for the same type of information. I can give you enough information as to where to start. You can get yourself going. And then when you need somebody that's more specialized in that particular field, and you do decide to spend that $250 for a 1 hour, a 2 hour consultation where the first hour is free and the second hour you're paying for, you already got 90% of the stuff done. Then this person is just going to make sure that it's not violating any laws, and then you can submit it and you're good to go. That's what we're about. We're not just going to tell you that you're on one side of the Grand Canyon and you need to be on the other side. We're going to tell you how to get there, and then you're going to start building that bridge to get there. And then before you get ready to cross that bridge, you want to just confirm with a specialist that that's a sturdy bridge for you to cross. And then you'll be able to get to the same success. If you're watching me on this podcast on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and you're watching me become a millionaire, it makes absolutely no sense that you can't make yourself one right alongside. It makes absolutely no sense. You know, you see me on this podcast talking about how and what we can do to find better, happier relationships, and you see me in a positive relationship. You can't say that it's not possible for you to get into one, and it's not possible for you to maintain one if I'm able to do it too. So if I'm not just telling you about it, I'm practicing what I preach. So we're not just talking about it, I'm actually being about it. So in that particular scenario, therefore, we should be all building ourselves up together. And that's what I kind of want to make sure that everybody is doing. I want to make sure that all of us are finding ways to work ourselves into a level of success where we're all happy with where we are and who we're with. So with that being said, I want to make sure that you guys remember to like and subscribe. Make sure that you come back to the podcast every night of the week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. We are still working with that internet issue, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. It's been spotty, but like I said, give it a little bit of time. We're going to end up transitioning into another network area where you're going to see a different background here. We're going to be in another network area, and in that network area, we're going to have better connectivity, smaller, less dense population, but gives us a better connectivity, which gives us the ability to stream a lot more effectively. And that's kind of what I want us to do. I kind of want to get us in there and stream a lot more effectively. So that is all the information that I have for you guys today. I really appreciate y'all that came in at the back end. Oh, Chocolate Bear just jumped in. And you missed the whole podcast, man. I'm over here wrapping it up right now. You dove in on the last part and been hanging out here since 9 o'clock Eastern time. You guys got to come in towards the beginning, at least like 9:15, 9:30 kind of thing, like right around the time that we start off. Kind of like slide in earlier if you can. And if you guys got some questions and comments, you can put them into the comment section after the show. You can message me after the show. Some topics that you want me to do some research on, you can message me about those topics after the show. You can also, if you want more details about topics that I talked about onto the show, you guys can actually reach out to me on that stuff as well, because I respond to all of the comments in the comment section until the comment section starts becoming too overwhelming, because I have multiples, because I got TikTok on this side and I got YouTube and Twitch over here, and Twitch is over there on the other side. So, but I respond to as many people as I can on a daily basis. So not too long will pass before I get to your comments and questions. So I encourage you guys to always try to get yourselves involved and try to find ways to make it make sense for you, because if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, and there's no reason why we're working so hard, we're making so much money, we don't have a happy relationship life, and we don't have a happy financial life. It makes no sense. It makes no sense that we have a second, third, fifth, seventh generation of chaotic families where the kids are watching the adults fight. The kids are going to think that's normal. The kids are going to get into relationships where they're fighting because they subconsciously think that's normal. Believe it or not, most of us make the biggest mistake of trying to dedicate ourselves to not being like a certain person in our family, and that's the person we become because we make the same mistakes instead of learning from those mistakes. And more often than not, while we swear to God that we're so frustrated and disappointed with certain people in our family, we actually end up dating that type of person, because that's what we're subconsciously used to. So if we recognize mentally what we're looking for versus what we need, and differentiate what we don't need from what we want, or what we're okay with, what we're comfortable with, and explore the opportunity of things that we're not necessarily used to, but we actually need in our life, then we can get better. Because if the life, the hard life, is all you know and all you're used to, that doesn't mean that somebody living a hard life is what you deserve. If the hard life is all you know and all you're used to, but you get a option or an idea or an experience of the easy life, you will come to find out that there is another way. And if you're always looking for another way, if your way of life is that there is got to be another way, a less difficult, less strenuous, less stressful way. It's not a shorter way. It's not a faster way. It's not a get rich quick way. It's not an instantaneous way, but it is a way that will have long-term happiness and long-term stability and long-term financial success, as opposed to short-term satisfaction, short-term money-making opportunities that leads to short-term financial gains that leads to long-term failure, because nothing that is quick and easy lasts forever. You all know that we've been taught by our ancestors and older folks that tell us that nothing worth having isn't worth fighting for. That's true, but nothing positive worth having requires you to continue to fight for it for the rest of your life. You're not supposed to have to fight for it your whole life. You might have to put a little bit of effort into it and struggle to get started with it. And the value of the effort you put into getting that is the value that you're going to express in the whole time that you keep it. But there is absolutely no situation where you are supposed to continuously fight to try to get it and then continuously try to fight to keep it. That makes absolutely no sense. It ain't yours if you got to fight to keep it. You should be able to get it, and then it should be yours. And with it being yours, it should always be for you. And relationships should be the same way. No woman is expected to fight for the attention and love and affection from a man, and no man should be trying to play cat and mouse games, chasing and fighting for the love and affection of a woman. That's not the case. Once you have declared that this is the person that you want, if that person is going to reciprocate those gestures, then y'all no longer fighting against the world to keep this person, because if you're fighting against the world to keep this person, that person's not for you. That's like a 24/7 hardcore terminal. The first time somebody beats you out for it, your all the many years you invested in this relationship is gone. But when you have dedication and loyalty out of love and mutual respect, you could be broke, sleeping under a bridge in a cardboard box, and your partner's right there with you. Versus you could be rich and your partner sleeping with somebody richer than you because they're spending more money on that person. You want to make sure that you're happy, and you want to make sure that you're stable, and you want to make sure that you're secure. You don't want to be in a situation where you're disappointed and frustrated 2, 3, 4 years in. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign out of today's show. TikTok, we're going to get you guys off the platform first. Thank you guys. Ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. And then for the rest of you guys that are still here on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, I really appreciate you guys coming to the podcast, because you guys definitely make the podcast what it is. Wow. Let's see. And I love this, because as I sign out of it, it tells us what's going on. I have to give them a little bit of feedback and let them know, hey, you didn't really show the show to anybody. So it that kind of does make a big deal to me. But yeah, you guys do a good job of showing up. I appreciate y'all coming. Your loyalty, you guys make us who we are. And as we get bigger, as you see, we done crossed over the $15,000 mark, or 15,000 follower mark. We're a small podcast, struggling against the WWE, the NFL, the politics, and 10-year-old podcast with 5 million views. We're struggling against those guys as we try to build ourselves up. But, you know, hey, it is doable. It is doable. You just got to stay in the fold and keep pushing, and you will get to where you're trying to go. So I really appreciate you guys coming to the podcast today, and I will definitely